There are places on Earth where reality begins to unravel, where time fractures and people vanish completely, silently, without explanation. They're not just remote, they're forbidden, silent traps that lure the curious in and never let them leave. Villages emptied overnight, forests that swallow hikers mid-step, campsites found undisturbed but abandoned, as if the people inside had simply evaporated. No signs of struggle, no footprints in the snow, just questions and the heavy feeling that something ancient is watching. These are the world's most disturbing places no one ever returns from. And once you enter, there may be no coming back. The Bennington Triangle, Vermont, USA. Have you ever heard of a place so mysterious and frightening that people vanish without a trace, never to be seen again? Deep in the quiet forests of southwestern Vermont lies one of the most chilling places on Earth, the Bennington Triangle. Peaceful on the surface, this region hides a dark secret. People have disappeared here in ways no one can explain. The Bennington Triangle covers about 100 square miles, surrounded by the towns of Bennington, Woodford, Shaftesbury, and the now abandoned Glastonbury. It's part of the beautiful Green Mountains, full of thick woods and winding trails. But this seemingly calm area has earned a reputation for being strange and dangerous. Locals and visitors have reported bizarre lights in the sky, strange creatures in the woods, and most disturbingly, people vanishing into thin air. The term Bennington Triangle was created by local author and folklorist Joseph A. Citro. He collected stories of unusual disappearances and creepy encounters in the area and believed something unexplainable was going on. According to Citro, between 1945 and 1950, at least 6 people vanished in the region, and none of these cases have ever been solved. But what if the mystery started even earlier? In 1943, Carl Herrick went hunting near Glastonbury Mountain with his cousin. When they became separated, his cousin went for help. A few days later, Carl's body was found. What shocked everyone was the condition of his remains. His ribs had been crushed, as if something incredibly powerful had squeezed him to death. His rifle was lying nearby, untouched. No animal attack could explain such damage, and no one ever figured out what killed him. And then others began to vanish. 2 years later, in 1945, a 74-year-old hunting guide named Mitty Rivers disappeared while leading a group near a place called Hell Hollow Brook. He had gone silently ahead of the others and was never seen again. The only clue was a single rifle cartridge found on the ground, possibly from his own gun. Despite a massive search effort by locals, volunteers, and even the US Army, no sign of him was ever found. The next year, in 1946, one of the most famous disappearances happened. Paula Jean Weldon, an 18-year-old college student, decided to hike the long trail near Glastonbury Mountain. She was wearing a bright red coat when she was dropped off by a local driver near the trail. Several hikers saw her walking alone in the woods, but she never came back. Her disappearance shocked the entire state and led to the creation of the Vermont State Police, which didn't exist at the time. Despite nationwide attention, no trace of Paula was ever found. And just when it couldn't get stranger, someone vanished mid-air. In 1949, another strange case occurred. James Tedford, a military veteran, was returning to Bennington by bus. 14 other passengers saw him on board during the trip. But when the bus reached its destination, James was gone. His luggage was still in his seat, but he had vanished without anyone seeing him leave. It was as if he had simply disappeared mid-ride. Then in 1950, an 8-year-old boy named Paul Jepson vanished while his mother tended to chores on their farm. She had left him in her truck for less than an hour, but when she returned, he was gone. A search dog followed his scent towards Glastonbury Mountain before the trail mysteriously ended. Paul, like Paula Jean, had also been wearing a red jacket, and he'd been talking about the mountain a lot in the days before he disappeared. The similarities began to pile up, and so do the bodies. Just weeks later, another disappearance shocked the area. Frida Langer, an experienced hiker, fell into a stream while hiking with her cousin. She said she was returning to camp to change into dry clothes, but she never arrived. Search teams combed the area for weeks but found nothing. Then, 6 months later, her body was discovered in a spot that had already been searched thoroughly. No one could determine how she died. All of these disappearances happened within a 5-week period. Many of the missing wore red clothing. Most vanished in the afternoon. All were last seen near Glastonbury Mountain. The pattern is eerie, and no clear answers have ever been found. So what could explain this series of disappearances? Some believe in supernatural forces, aliens, time portals, or a mysterious energy vortex that pulls people out of reality. Others think the Wendigo, a creature from Native American legend said to haunt the wilderness, may be responsible. But even logic offers no comfort. Skeptics offer more grounded explanations. They say the terrain in the Bennington Triangle is rough, with dense woods, hidden cliffs, and abandoned mine shafts from the area's past as a mining region. People could easily get lost, injured, or fall into these shafts and never be found. Weather changes quickly in the mountains, adding to the danger. But even these explanations don't cover everything. Why are there never any remains? Why did several victims vanish wearing red? Why did their disappearances happen under similar conditions? These unanswered questions have kept the mystery alive for generations, and the pattern doesn't seem to want to die. In more recent years, the legend has only grown. In 2019, a woman named Jessica Hildenbrandt, nicknamed Red, was found dead near Somerset Reservoir, an area close to previous disappearances. Her case stirred fresh interest in the Bennington Triangle and its dark reputation. Whether caused by natural dangers, accidents, or something beyond our understanding, the Bennington Triangle continues to puzzle and terrify. It remains one of the most mysterious places in the United States, a place where people go in and sometimes never come out. But this isn't the only place like it. In fact, there's another stretch of land further north, where an entire village simply vanished. Lake Anjikuni, Nunavut, Canada. In 1930, deep in the frozen wilderness of northern Canada, near a remote body of water called Lake Anjikuni, a chilling mystery began to unfold. A seasoned Canadian fur trapper named Joe LaBelle was traveling through the snow-covered land, expecting the usual sights and sounds of the wild. But what he stumbled upon would haunt him, and many others, for decades. Joe LaBelle came across an Inuit village by the lake. Normally, such villages were full of life, the crackle of fires, children's laughter, and the familiar bark of sled dogs. But as he approached, something felt off. The entire village was silent. No people, no movement, just a ghostly stillness. He searched the village, calling out, but no one answered. Homes were still standing, and meals were left half-cooked over fires, untouched. Warm clothing hung inside tents, and tools lay scattered as if they had just been used. It looked like the villagers had simply vanished in the middle of their day. And then, it got worse. Joe made a heart-breaking discovery. 7 sled dogs starved and frozen to death. These dogs were essential for survival and deeply valued by the Inuit. Leaving them behind made no sense. It was clear. Whatever happened, it was sudden and very wrong. Joe reported the incident, and soon the Royal Canadian Mounted Police arrived to investigate. What they found only deepened the mystery. One grave had been disturbed, its contents missing. Even stranger blue lights had reportedly been seen in the sky above the lake, glowing, flickering, and moving in ways no one could explain. And as strange details surfaced, so did the stories. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some believed the villagers had been taken by alien visitors. Others whispered of ancient spirits, curses, or a hidden portal to another world. The mystery grew with each telling. But as time passed, doubts emerged. Some researchers began to question Joe LaBelle's story. Could an entire village disappear without anyone else noticing? Why were there no photographs or physical evidence? And Why was there confusion about where and when the story was reported? And that's when the inconsistencies started to unravel. A writer named Frank Edwards popularized the tale in his book Stranger Than Science, but when people looked for the original newspaper article he cited, they couldn't find it. Another article from 1930 was eventually discovered, but its details didn't match Lebel's account. Skeptics like researcher Brian Dunning highlighted major issues. For example, Joe claimed boats were battered by waves on the lake, but by November, Lake Angiokini would have been completely frozen. And perhaps most damning, no remains of a village, no ruins, bones, or tools have ever been found in the area. Nothing to prove such a settlement ever existed at all. So, what really happened at Lake Angiokini? Was it a myth that spiraled into legend, fueled by fear and retellings? Or did something truly unexplainable occur in that icy silence? To this day, no one knows for sure. Some still cling to theories of aliens, spirits, or otherworldly forces. Others see it as a fabrication, a snowbound ghost story that grew out of proportion. But one thing is certain: the mystery of Lake Angiokini refuses to die. Like the wind over a frozen, empty lake, it continues to echo through time, chilling, unanswered, and unforgettable. Some places are born strange. Others become cursed over time. But the Bennington Triangle and Lake Angiokini, they were never meant to be found. One swallowed hikers in silence. The other erased an entire village overnight. No warnings, no signs. Just gone. Mountains whisper. Snow conceals. And somewhere between the trees and the ice, something awaits. Ancient, patient, and hungry. They say nature doesn't keep secrets, but these places do. And if you listen closely, you can still hear them calling. So ask yourself, would you walk those trails? Camp by that lake? Step into the unknown? Chasing answers? Just remember, not everyone who goes in comes out. And if they do, they're never quite the same.